What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Full 90. Today it is time for Week 8 Premier League predictions, I think. I have no idea what week it is. Everything's gone crazy. There was an entire week that was postponed due to, obviously, the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. We spoke about that in the previous Champions League video. And there's also some fixtures in this game week that are postponed due to the lack of policing, due to the increased resources required for the Queen's upcoming funeral. So it's all a little bit mental, and I personally actually have a wedding to go to very, very soon, so I don't have time to make the fully fledged out video again. So I'm going to do what I did for the Champions League video, head over to Super Brew and go through my predictions there. I haven't actually made them yet. I thought I could have a look at it, and I could go through the sort of fixture result picking process that I go through for my normal videos. You guys can get a little insight on that. So please do drop a like, subscribe down below. We're trying to reach 25,000 subscribers by the World Cup, and leave your comment down below with your predictions. So with that being said, we'll get straight into it. So kicking it off, we do have Aston Villa up against Southampton. It's been an interesting start of the season for both of these teams. Aston Villa, way more underwhelming. You would argue that they should be higher than Southampton, performing better than Southampton, and Southampton have actually picked up some interesting results. Of course, the main one being that victory against Chelsea. They just sometimes do weirdly turn up. And for this one, I think I'm finally going to go for things to click for Aston Villa. Just because it's at Villa Park, I think maybe they will get the win. However, I do think they're going to concede. And Southampton, I think, if Southampton's going to score any amount of goals, it's going to be 1. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 Aston Villa win. My tip here would be both teams to score, I'm pretty sure, because Southampton, like I said, I think can score a goal, but there's no way Aston Villa lose to Southampton to 0, right? That would just be crazy. It's possible, but I think Aston Villa need the win more than Southampton do. I mean, at this stage, Aston Villa, they're on 4 points. They're out of the relegation zone on goals scored. They've got West Ham and Nottingham Forest right behind them with the same amount of points, and it wouldn't surprise me if Leicester eventually start getting more points, and then it's like they're basically at the bottom. Like, I would disregard Leicester here. I think they're a good enough team to, by the end of the season, get out of the relegation zone. So if we take out Leicester, and you could argue you'd take out West Ham as well, that leaves you with Forest, then Villa, then Everton. Palace and Wolves you'd think would be higher up. Bournemouth will be dragged down. So Aston Villa really not looking like they're in a great spot at the moment. I think they need this win, and this win will get them up to level with Southampton, which would be a lot better for them. After that, it's Nottingham Forest up against Fulham. Who the heck knows how this one is going to go, right? It could be any outcome. So I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. I'm going to go for 2 and 2 there for Fulham as well. I think Nottingham Forest have had a bit of an iffy start to the season. They've just had so many new signings come in. They've basically bought not only an entire first team, essentially, they've bought an entire squad. They could have a squad with just the signings they made. And Fulham have been looking good this season. They're up there in 10th position, as you can see there. 2 wins and 2 draws. Not to mention one of those draws being against Liverpool. They had a good win against Brighton, and they narrowly missed out on points against Arsenal. So I think Fulham are looking good this season. At Craven Cottage, I'd shade them in a 2-1 win. Nottingham Forest 2-2 here. I probably would have gone for a Forest win, but after seeing Bournemouth come back from 2 goals down to take the 3 points, I think Fulham are also capable of doing similar things. And Fulham are actually the bookies' favourites here. So that's very interesting, actually. After that, we travel to Molineux for Wolves up against Manchester City. I mean, realistically, this one's just going to be easy. We, of course, have the announcement that Diego Costa has signed for Wolves. That's a big, big signing for them. That is the kind of signing that could just guarantee they don't get relegated in what has been a bit of an iffy season so far, and they do need goals going forward. I don't think Diego Costa's going to take the league by storm, but I could see him getting 5 to 10 goals this season. It depends how often he plays. If he gets injured, this goes out the water. But I think he's going to get at least 5 goals this season, and whilst that doesn't sound like a lot when you compare him to the likes of Haaland, who's already on, double figures, 5 in a Wolves team is not a bad effort for one player. And like I said, it could be 5 to 10. So that being said, I don't think Wolves are going to get anything from this game. They've been a bit of a boogie team for Manchester City in recent years, but I do think Man City are going to win this one. They're too good. I'm going to go for 3-0. I'm going to give the Wolves a bit of a defensive credit, and I'll go with 3-0. That just seems like that's probably the safest scoreline to go for. I don't think it'll be 5 or 6-0, but 3-0, convincing. I think Haaland will probably score again like he always does. After this, it's Newcastle up against Bournemouth. When was the last time we saw Newcastle with odds like this? I can understand why Bournemouth have been a little bit hit and miss. They won their first game of the season, and then they won their last game against Nottingham Forest. Again, absolutely phenomenal. But Newcastle have been I feel like they've been playing well, even if the results haven't necessarily been great for them. They got the draw with Manchester City, and they managed to scrape a draw against Brighton, even though they were dominated, I would say, in that game. I'm going to go for Bournemouth to score, though, and I'm actually going to go for quite a high-scoring game for Newcastle, 3 goals. That's quite unusual for me to predict so many goals for that one, but I think for their over 2.5 goals would be my shout there, because then if Bournemouth do win, probably going to be some goals in there. But Newcastle could score at least 2, in my opinion. So I'm going to go for a 3-1. Something a little bit risky, a little bit different. 3-1 to Newcastle. After that, Tottenham up against Leicester. Tottenham are going to win. Leicester are going to score. Simple as that. Let's go with 4-2. 4-2. Let's go a little bit crazy. I do think Leicester have good personnel. Tottenham are pretty good defensively, though, aren't they? We'll go 4-1. Just looks all very similar, doesn't it? But there we go. 4-1 to Tottenham. It's going to be a Tottenham win, isn't it? Leicester can't keep out goals. I would go again over 2.5 goals. Tottenham to win and over 2.5 goals. Tottenham to score in both halves. Leicester are just that bad defensively that they just leak goals. They are a catastrophe waiting to happen. So that's the late kickoff. I'm going to go for a resounding win. Tottenham to remain unbeaten along with Manchester City. After that, it's Brentford up against Arsenal. This is going to be a really interesting one. Are Arsenal going to keep Brentford out? Probably not. I think Brentford will score. I think this is going to be a classic 2-1 Arsenal win. Just like they beat Aston Villa 2-1. Just like they beat Fulham 2-1. I think both those teams are on similar level to Brentford. Brentford looking good. Ivan Toney's been playing well lately. Scoring, been in the goals. But Arsenal, I think even if they play exactly how they played against Manchester United, minus perhaps their slight defensive naivety in their change in tactics when Ronaldo came on to basically leave that extra space in behind for Rashford to run into. Other than that decision, Arsenal, I thought, played really, really well, and I wasn't disappointed with it. They did accumulate more, a higher XG than Man United. And whilst I wish we were playing Everton at home, we're going to go to the Brentford Community Stadium, and I think we can just scrape a win. Another 2-1 to the Arsenal. After that, it's Goodison Park for Everton up against West Ham. Everton, the draw specialists. No wins this season, along with Leicester, but 4 draws. So they're all the last 4, right? Yeah, so we've got a draw with Nottingham 1-1, Brentford 1-1, Leeds 1-1, Liverpool 0-0. They did concede quite a high XG in that Liverpool game, but Pickford had an absolute blinder. This could be a draw again, because West Ham haven't been in great form. Lost to Chelsea when they should have drawn 2-2. They drew with Tottenham, beat Aston Villa 1-0, and then lost a bunch of games. So I think, to be fair, I might go 1-1. That's my initial reaction. If Everton are drawing a lot, West Ham aren't playing great. I would say they're better than Everton, but if they're good for a draw, I think that loss to Chelsea should have been a draw. Chelsea, maybe 2-1 though. I'm tempted to go for West Ham, but Everton at Goodison Park is a tough place to go. I think at the London Stadium, I would definitely go with West Ham win, maybe even 2-0. But at Goodison Park, I can see this being a low-scoring draw, much like we've seen with Everton lately. So this is the summary of my picks. So the Man United Leeds game, Chelsea Liverpool game, they've been called off. I can't remember the other one that's been called off, but that would be the Palace Brighton game, and that was due to rail strikes, which I don't think are even happening anymore, but called off nonetheless. So Chelsea Liverpool, Man United Leeds have been called off due to lack of personnel, so we have just these 7 fixtures. I'm going for basically top of the table to win. I haven't really picked any upsets this week. I wouldn't say any of these are considered upsets really, and I'm sure we will be upset in one of them. We might see I think my most likely upset would be, upset from my picks at least, would be a West Ham win, a Fulham win, Southampton to get something, and then maybe Brentford to get something as well. But nevertheless, that is going to do it for this Premier League predictions video. Again, a little bit scuffed with the setup, but you really enjoyed the Champions League one. It just makes it so much easier for me to make this video on time because, like I said, I have a wedding midweek, which obviously never really happens, but it just happens to happen this week when everything's busy and crazy. So videos will hopefully resume at their normal schedule. I'm going to do my best. If I am tight for time, I'll have to do videos like this because I'd rather get a video out like this than no video at all, because I'd like to have a chat with you about these games. But that is going to do it from me, and I'll see you in the next video very soon.